butter or a regular butter, but definitely no margarine. This is called a healthy food demonstration, right? Margarine is not an option. We're going to use butter, and that could be a plant-based butter or regular butter. Now, if you're dealing with hypertension issues, you know you're going to use an unsalted butter, right? So I'm going to melt the butter. Now I'm going to add my onion and the butter. So I'm just going to add and let it get a little translucent while it's cooking here. And I'm going to put the top on it. Now, when we're talking about onions, you can add any onion that you like. You can add, well, listen, Yolanda, I think I want them to type something in the message. So name different types of onions. So like I said, you can use any type of onion in here. And I'm not going to tell you what kind I'm using because I want you to type in the chat different onions that you might prefer, because any onion will do. Go ahead and give me a couple of onions. Type in the chat. You know how to do that? Y'all can talk back to me. I like communicating back and forth. Yeah.
I can read you a few of them, Roz. We've got quite a few.
Yeah, I can't see it. So what you have?
Sure, we have red and sweet, Spanish.
Oh, Spanish, I like it.
Yellow, white, green. I forgot about green.
Yes.
Vidalia and spring onions.
Yes, and so green onions and spring onions are the same thing, I think. But I love it. So which one do you all think I added to this? Butternut squash and sweet potato soup. What type of onion do you think? Now, I'm just going to tell you, I really like red onion, but this is not a red onion. So now, which one do you think would go good? Now, this is the thought process of when you're preparing your foods, how you put things together to make it just taste so just amazing. And so a butternut squash and sweet potato soup. What type of onion? Did anybody type anything there? What type of onion do you think
they sure did? They have guessed every type, except for green. Green was not thrown out there, but yellow or white. And Barbara's wondering how much onion you added.
So the onion is you're going to add 2 cups. Now, mind you, this recipe that you all will receive is for a large quantity. Because I'm here virtual and I'm just my husband and I'm going to kind of cut it down a little bit. But the recipe says 2 cups of onion. Now you can I'm using the sweet onion because I like, the little sweet taste for the soup. Okay. So I'm using sweet onion, but you can use any one of those that you all named. All right. Next. So this is really, really translucent. The onions, I love the smell of onions. It's just amazing. All right, soft and translucent. You're going to cook that for about 5 minutes normally, but I have a high-powered stove here, so it hasn't been 5 minutes, but they're ready. All right, so now I'm going to add my squash, the butternut squash. I'm going to tell a story about this. I'm going to add the squash in here with the onion. All right. Now, normally you're going to have 2 pounds of butternut squash. I think I'm going to put all this in here. 2 pounds of butternut squash. Now, the thing about butternut squash, my very first experience with butternut squash, it was horrible because, nutrition, I'm excited. I see it in the store. And so I go and buy the whole big one with the skin on it, the big butternut squash. I'm going to take it home and I'm going to have some butternut squash, everything, right? It took me forever to cut it, to peel. I didn't know what I was doing. Later, I found out that I was supposed to put it in the oven and bake it first. Just kind of wash it down really nicely, oil it down, put it on a baking sheet, and put it in the oven. That's what you're supposed to do first. I didn't know. So I'm just telling you all, just in case you might want to challenge yourself and use your onion. I mean, use your skills with your butternut squash. So next, I'm going to add vegetable broth. I drew a blank. My vegetable broth. All right. Now, butternut squash, and the vegetable broth is 8 cups. Now, this is a 32-ounce container. Yes. So I'm going to use. And then it's going to come to a boil. Let it boil. The next thing I'm going to put in here, let me turn this up. All right. The next thing I'm going to put in here is some sea salt. So you're going to use 1.5 teaspoons of sea salt. Now, again, if you are having issues with hypertension, you can omit the salt altogether. You can just not use salt, or you can just use a pinch. All right. So I'm going to put the sea salt in there. The next thing you're going to add, next ingredient is pepper. Just some black pepper. Where's my black pepper? My black pepper is a 1/2 teaspoon. 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. And make sure you don't mistaken it with a whole teaspoon, because that's going to be disastrous. Is that a word? Disastrous? It's going to be a disaster if you use that whole teaspoonful. So there we go. That is black pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. So what do I have in here? I have the butternut squash. Well, first I have the onion, and then I have the butter, the butternut squash, sea salt, black pepper, and organic. Well, I say organic. It doesn't have to be organic. It could be regular vegetable broth, or you can use chicken broth. I am a vegetarian, so I don't use chicken broth. I use vegetable broth. You can use vegetable broth or vegetable stock or chicken broth. All right. So that is going to cook. It's going to cook for about 15 minutes. You're just going to let it come to a boil and cook it. Now, this is what I wanted to say about your butternut squash. Your squash, it's going, like I said, it'll come in the whole form, right? But guess what? The stores have made it easy for you. They made it easy for you. You can buy it in the containers already cut up, already in cubes, in a 2-pound or a smaller one. But let me just say this. You all know food is going up. The price of food is going up. They already add extra because they've done the work for you. So you just be mindful. Just be mindful. Do you want to go ahead and splurge and spend that extra money and buy it already cut up and cubed for you? Or are you going to go ahead and purchase the big, gigantic one, which, remember, wash it down, oil it down, and put it in the oven. Once it comes out the oven, it peels nicely. You can cut it nicely. It has a whole bunch of seeds in the middle of it. You just gut those seeds out. Then you can cube it yourself. All right. So that's one lesson about your butternut squash that I've learned. Now, if you buy the one that they've cut up for you in the cubes, and you want to make your soup, a lot of times their cubes are very large. They make very large cubes. And what you will have to do is take a good knife and dice them up a little smaller, kind of help them out a little bit. Make them smaller, because it does take a while for them to cook, for the large pieces to cook when you're trying to make your soup. And if you want a schedule and you're trying to get your food done quickly, then you need to cut it up small. It makes sense, right? Makes sense. Anything you have cut up small, then it's going to cook faster. All right. So now it's over here. It's boiling very, very nicely, and it's smelling really, really good. Now I am going to, while it's still cooking, I'm going to talk about my other ingredients. The other ingredients, and I'll go through the steps with you. So when this is done, what I'm going to do is add my sweet potato. Now let's talk about that sweet potato for a second. Most of the time when you have Thanksgiving and Christmas, the holidays, most people make yams, or if you want to call it sweet potato or yams, those two words, names are interchangeable. So either sweet potatoes or yams. Most of the time you have that on the menu, right? Just if you're going to have your butternut squash and sweet potato soup, make sure you make at least one or two extra sweet potatoes. Just boil them along with the others that you're going to make with your yams. All right. Then you're going to take them aside and save them for your soup. Save it for your soup. All right. So yesterday I did a cooking demonstration where I used sweet potatoes. The whole thing was sweet potatoes. So that's what I did. I boiled it for yesterday to put in my soup for today. So I have one nice sweet potato here already for it. And I'm using a jewel sweet potato. Now, that's the question. This is another trivia question. How does anybody know how many sweet potatoes are there? There are a variety of sweet potatoes, but how many do you think there are? How many do you think there are? Give me that number. Give me that number. Anybody typing?
We have a guess for 3.
What is it?
3.
Okay. Anything else?
12.
I like it. I like it. We're getting close. Any more?
That's it at the moment. We need some additional guessing. 20.
So
We're going
somebody
up.
said 20. Mm-hmm.
And now Rachel said 30.
Okay. Somebody said 30. So we have 3, 20, 30, 12. That's it.
That's it.
All right. Here we go. 400. 400 variety of sweet potatoes around the country, around the world, in different countries. There are 400 different sweet potatoes. Now, we live in the US and we are in the DMV. So what type of sweet potatoes can you find in the stores? Now, I just said I'm using jewel sweet potato for this recipe. So that's one, a jewel sweet potato. Go for it. See if you can name some sweet potatoes for me. Let me test your sweet potato knowledge. I love it. I love it. You all are awake.
I am shocked, Roz. I did not know there were 400 varieties.
400 across the world. So that's why, and I'll give them time to go ahead and type in their different names. But when you go to different countries and they may serve you, you don't even know what it is. And then when it comes, you're like, oh, this is a sweet potato. Because it's different varieties, different kinds. 400. I love it. Anybody guess the names of them?
We've got one.
Uh-oh, what's that one?
I'm gonna butcher this, I'm sure. Beauregard?
Spell it.
Beauregard? It's with a B.
Okay,
Beauregard.
Beauregard, yes.
Thank you.
That is definitely one. That's one for sure. That's a good one. Most people don't even guess that one. That's a good one. That's a good one. Anybody else? Nobody wants to try? So let me just ask you all this. When you go to the store, like right now, when you go to the grocery store in the produce section, there's the big sign and the big display of yams. It just has a big old word yams or sweet potatoes, right? Yes. So that's why you probably don't know the name of them. But there's this one is Jewel. There's a garnet sweet potato, and then there is a purple sweet potato.
Barbara gets purple, so we did get that one.
Somebody guessed purple?
Yes.
Yes. And then there is a Japanese/Korean. Japanese and Korean sweet potato are the same. But those sweet potatoes are so good. Now, the Japanese, Korean, and the purple sweet potato, they have the dark skin on the outside, but the inside is white, really chalky and starchy. So it's really tastes close to a white potato, kind of dry, all right, and not as sweet. Flavorful, but not as sweet. Now your garnet sweet potato and your jewel sweet potato and your Beauregard sweet potato, they are sweet. The skin is a little is dark, but on the inside is orange. The flesh of the sweet potato is nice and orange. When you boil them or bake them, it comes out a really nice, beautiful orange color, and it's so sweet. You bake them, your house will smell like sweet potato pie. I'm just saying. So you want to choose a nice sweet potato for your pies, or in this case, for this soup. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's good. It's boiling. Yes. All right, I'm going to turn it down some. All right, so that's the sweet potato. Make sure you all type in any questions that you might have so that I can answer them at the end. All right, so now I'm going to turn it down. I'll turn it down already. Now I'm going to add my apple. I'm going to add the apple in here. Now you can, so listen, you can dice your apple. Let me just tell you how much apple you're supposed to have. One tart yet sweet apple, like a Fuji or Honeycrisp. This is actually a Honeycrisp. Sweet apple, Honeycrisp. Now, I didn't dice my apple. You can dice it. Core it. Take the core out and dice it. But I'm gonna tell you the reason why I didn't dice mine. I just sliced mine, and I left the skin on. But so let me just tell you right now why. Because I'm going to transfer this over into my Vitamix. And the Vitamix is like a Cadillac food processor, right? And so that means that it's going to blend it really nice and smooth. Now, if you have a different brand, like a Hamilton Beach or, just a household brand, then you might want to dice it smaller and peel it, but make sure you take the core out. All right. So when I transfer it over, you'll see how nice it's going to come out. All right. Next, also in here, I'm going to put in my sweet potato. So the apple, can you already imagine how this is going to be with the apple and the sweet potato? But I'm not finished. So here's the sweet potato.
Roz, we have a question.
I'm ready.
What is the best way to store a butternut squash? How long can a butternut squash stay okay before cooking it?
So are you speaking of a whole one? Well, okay. So if you have a whole butternut squash, then it should last for at least 2 weeks. Just think about pumpkins, and all of those are in the same family. So it'll last a long time. That's a whole one. Now, listen, because I still see people's pumpkins on their porch. And Halloween has been a couple of weeks now, right? So the pumpkin, the butternut squash, all of those squashes whole will last at least for 2 weeks. I would say 2 weeks. Now, if you have it cut up and in the cubes and they've already cut it up for you and peeled it and it's in your refrigerator, I would say use it probably in a week. In a week. If you open it and it's kind of slimy, just throw it away. But if you have it in your refrigerator, still wrapped in the container that it came in, you could probably use it for a week. Now, who asked that question? I just want to know if they have butternut squash in their refrigerator right now. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. That's a question. That's a great question. Great question. All right. Now, let's go back over it. I did my butter, cut up my onion, put it in there, got it translucent. Then I added my butternut squash, already diced really, really small. Then I added my vegetable broth, sea salt, black pepper. Then I added my apples, diced, cored, peeled if you don't have a great blender, and then my leftover sweet potato. All right. Now, let me tell you, you're going to use two cups of your sweet potato already prepared, right? So that's going to equal about one and a half of a nice, or just go ahead and put two in there, two nice medium-sized sweet potatoes. All right. Then you're going to use 8 cups of vegetable broth, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, sea salt, not unless you're hypertension, high blood pressure, and then your black pepper, your apples, your Fuji apple or Honeycrisp apple, nice sweet apple, not a Macintosh. Macintosh gets kind of mushy. And Macintosh is great for applesauce. All right. So now it's been cooking. I've talked a lot. I turned it down. Yes. So my apples are still kind of stiff, but not bad. Very, very nice consistency with my apples. So I'm going to now transfer this over into my container, my blender container. And this is what's going to make your soup. Now, it's not finished. I still have a couple more steps. And because I'm talking, it's taken a while. I'm really, really talking so that everything could cook really nicely. But if I wasn't doing this, I would be finished by now. If I wasn't talking to you guys, I would be finished by now. I know this seems like a lot of steps, but once you do it, it is not bad, I promise. And not only that, it's going to taste amazing. And it's going to make a lot of soup. I might have to share. Y'all might have to know where I live. We can share. I'm making a mess. Yes, put all of that broth in there. Yes, yes, yes. All right. So I'm going to switch my pan. I'm going to put this over here. Put this top on. Now, the thing is, you have to be careful about your settings, because do you want a thick soup or do you want a thin soup? And so you're going to start off at a lower setting until you get the desired consistency. Now, the one thing about this soup is that the more heat, because I'm going to put it back over here on the stove in the pot, and so the more heat that gets to it, once I add the rest of my ingredients, then it will thicken up. All right, so you have to keep that in mind. So you just think about it. So, in other words, just start off small. Start off small. Now, I like a little chunkiness to mine. I like a little chunkiness. So I'm going to check it. I didn't let it go long enough, but I like to, have a little, oh yes, this is perfect. So I like mine a little chunky where I can kind of, the onion is still, I can put it in my mouth and still kind of chew a little bit. So I love mine just like this. Now you have to be very, very careful when you are blending, because remember, it just came from the stove and it's hot, right? It's hot. So steam will come up here. So make sure if you have a hole in the top, or just make sure you don't burn yourself from the steam. The steam will burn you. All right.
Ross, we have another question.
Okay, I'm ready for it.
So other than the salad, what is a good pairing dish with the soup?
Well, what could you eat with the soup? Soup and bread and crackers and pita bread, a sandwich, soup and a sandwich. How about a nice leftover turkey sandwich? Let me tell you, before pre-vegetarian, day after Thanksgiving was a turkey and dressing sandwich. Turkey and dressing sandwich between two pieces of bread. The soup would be on the side. Oh, that would be amazing. How about soup and sandwich? Is that a good one for whoever asked that question?
Well, I think it's perfect.
I think
it
it's
sounds
perfect.
what I will be eating on Friday next week.
Soup and a sandwich, especially if it gets cold, because the temperature is supposed to change. So it might be a little cold. So this will be perfect. Soup and a sandwich. All right. So now, if you notice, I poured it back in the I put it in a different pan. It's nice and thick. Now I still have an apple in here, which I don't really care. Didn't really get blended, but it's okay because I like I said, I like to. So good. All right. So now what I do? Now I have heavy whipping cream. So did you know? 6:37. I'm looking at my time. Did you know that heavy whipping cream now comes in a plant base? They have thought of everything. So if you have issues with milk or with dairy, there is a plant-based dairy now. But this one here is actually real heavy whipping cream. And I'm going to pour it over. You use about a cup of heavy whipping cream. Yes. Now I didn't use the whole cup because I told you all I kind of cut it down a little bit, the recipe a little bit. All right, so now did that, put it back in. Now here is the excellent part right here. This is cinnamon. This one is cinnamon. So you're going to use a half a teaspoon of cinnamon. This is your flavor. Half a teaspoon of cinnamon. Yes. Then we're going to also use 1/4 teaspoon of mace. MACE, and it's a nice spice. It kind of reminds you of allspice, if you know what allspice is like. So we're going to use 1/4 a teaspoon of mace. Ah, yes. And then we're going to use nutmeg, just 1/8 of a teaspoon of nutmeg. Ah, then we'll stir it. Now, oh my goodness, you all, I'm telling you, it is truly smelling wonderful in here. Nice, nice, nice. Then we just let this simmer on low. I should really have a whisk. I don't know what I was thinking about, but I should have a whisk in here. But so this is going to thicken up some. And if it does thicken up too much, then you're going to just add a little bit more whipping cream, heavy cream in there. Oh, I want to taste this right now. But I have to let it.
Run through those spices really quickly again. We are also going to hand out the recipe after the session.
Yes, I sure will. I'm going to go right over it. Let me get a paper towel here so I can clean up my mess. So what I have is I put in 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Then I also have 1/4 teaspoon of ground mace. That's MACE, mace. 1/4 teaspoon, 1/4 teaspoon of ground mace. And then 1/8 teaspoon of nutmeg. So that's cinnamon, mace, and nutmeg. Ah, yes. And then it is 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. And then you're going to let it simmer. Now let me just tell you all this. Sometimes I'll drop a handful of baby spinach in there. I'll drop a handful of baby spinach in there just right towards the end because it will wilt and it looks pretty and you're getting your vegetable along with your soup in there. But then you can top it, kind of garnish it with some pumpkin seeds. Roasted pumpkin seeds. Oh, I'm just saying. I have the pumpkin seeds at home. Yes. So now, we just have to let this simmer. All right, while this is simmering, let me make the salad. The salad is so easy. I'm going to transition with the salad. And we're going to start off with some salad greens. Now you can do it with spring mix. I should let you name some salads. I want you to name some greens that you can use for this salad. Name some. What green leafy vegetables could you use for this salad? Are you typing? Are you typing it in?
We have kale, spinach, red lettuce, Boston, arugula, romaine.
Yes. Did one person say all of that or different people?
Oh no, this is a team effort.
I love it. I love it. All of those are very good, especially since nobody, I don't know, did anybody write iceberg?
No iceberg.
No iceberg. All of those green leafies, vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E, vitamin K, high in fiber, high in chlorophyll, definitely beneficial for your body. So yes, all of those wonderful field greens. spring mix, arugula. Arugula, I like arugula. It's kind of peppery. I love it. So whatever green vegetable, green leafy vegetables that you want to use, you can. But today I'm using what they call field greens. It kind of reminds you of spring mix, field greens. It's just all the different types of greens in there. So what you're going to do is put your leafy vegetables in a big bowl. Then you're going to take, now let me just say this. On my recipe that I put on here, I have champagne vinaigrette salad dressing. And champagne vinaigrette salad dressing is kind of citrusy. It's citrusy. It's got like orange flavor to it, and it's really, really tasty. And I also have pomegranate seeds in the recipe that you all are going to get. But if you're taking notes, you can switch it up a little bit, which I have done because the 3 stores that I actually went to did not have the pomegranate seeds. They had pomegranate, but not the seeds. Go figure. So I just switched it up. And it's Christmassy, right? So I switched it to a red salad dressing. So this is a pomegranate blueberry. So it still has a pomegranate flavor, but it's pomegranate blueberry. So we're going to use 1/4 of a cup. I'm just going to pour here. 1/4 of a cup. You're going to pour it on your salad. All right. You'll pour it on your salad, and then you'll toss it just to give it a little flavor. You don't want to saturate it. You're just going to get every little bit kind of tossed over into your salad, into your greens, right? And you all know, like I mentioned before, because everything is getting a little expensive, you just want to use a little bit of salad dressing. It goes a long way. You pay that amount for it, and then just use a little bit, put it in the refrigerator for the next time, right? Gone are the days where you'll have a whole lot of salad dressing left on your plate. What about that? I know, I see people do that all the time. They need more salad to go with that dressing. So you're just going to toss it, all right? Then you'll get your plate. Put your salad on your plate. Oh, it smells so good. I'm just going to put all this on here. I'm going to dump it back in here after I finish because it'd be so rude to eat this in front of you all. But I'm just going to plate it. Now, of course, if this is not your whole meal, then it might not be all of this. But this could be your whole meal. Could be your whole meal. Because now I'm using cranberries. There's the red. I'm using dried cranberries. Just sprinkle them on top. Now you could use if you have the pomegranate seeds, you can use pomegranate seeds. If you have strawberries, you can use strawberries. The goal is to make it nice, colorful, pretty for Christmas or for the season, should I say. Then I'm using Parmesan cheese shredded. Now this is actually a vegan cheese that I'm using because I'm a vegetarian and I don't like to do a whole lot of dairy. I'm doing my dairy over here in the soup, so I'm not going to take it too much further with my dairy. Not only that, I love this vegan plant-based cheese. You can use a regular cheese if you like. Now, I mentioned several times that I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat meat, but guess what? You have your leftover turkey or chicken or Cornish hen left over. Go ahead and slice it or dice it or tear it apart. Put it right on top of your salad. Right on top of your salad. You can add your cute croutons, and this will be your meal. Your leftover turkey or chicken, your cranberries, your cheese, toss it in some nice salad dressing, and that is your meal. That's your meal. Chicken or turkey, leftover. You're always trying to figure out. A lot of people make turkey hash, but how about a salad, especially the next day, because we're full from that whole meal. But we have to fuel our body with nice, healthy menu options, right? So now my soup has been simmering. I'm gonna put it over here. And like I said, you can garnish it with some pumpkin seeds, or you can even add kale. I don't know. I wouldn't add kale to it, but I definitely add spinach to it for sure. And that's it. That is it. Butternut squash and sweet potato soup. And how about I forgot a spoon, a soup spoon. So I'm going to come closer to the camera so that you can actually see this. Can you all see it? I don't know. Is it too much light?
We
Tilt
can
it
see
down a
it. It
little
looks
bit.
beautiful.
There you go.
Ah, good, good, good. I just wanted to just do like that. I'm not going to do it. That's not good etiquette. But a nice soup spoon, butternut squash. It smells so amazing. I can't wait. This is going to be my dinner for tonight. This soup and this salad, minus the chicken and the turkey. It's just going to be just like this. Awesome. Let me bring this up closer. There's a salad. Is that a good angle? That good? Give me thumbs up. Is that good? Can you see it? Nice. Yolanda.
Yes, it looks amazing.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, does anybody have any questions? Any questions for me at all? Any questions? Oh, I'm hungry.
Mary, do you have a question? I see your hand is raised.
I think they were like saying, yes, it looks good. I've seen a few people doing that when she asked, give me a thumbs up. So maybe that.
Oh,
Hi, can you hear me?
yes, I can.
Okay, great. So I'm driving, unfortunately, because I get off too late and it bumped up against your beautiful presentation. Thank you for doing this. And I just want to confirm that this is being recorded because I'll need to go back and look with more detail at your steps and just your whole presentation. Because while I'm driving, of course, I can't do any of that.
Yes, it is being recorded, and we will send a link with, we'll actually send you all the recipes shortly.
Okay, great. That's awesome. Happy Thanksgiving to you all, too, by the way.
Well, thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Thank you so much. Be safe out
Yes,
there.
ma'am. Thank you for doing it. I know. I'm getting ready to get off this crazy 495 right now.
All
Okay,
right.
thank you.
Sure. Any other questions? Anybody have anything they want to add or say?
Yes, and I'll just say that for the if you email me, so the email that you would have received with the link to join, if you respond to that email, I think it was Mary that we were just speaking with, then I can make sure that you get that recording. But if anyone wants that, feel free to respond to that email. We can make it happen. I
Oh, the
normally
email
give
with the.
the.
Are
I'm
you talking
sorry.
about
Go ahead.
Are you talking about with the meeting information? That
Yes,
email?
that'll be fine. I normally give a different email, but since you're driving, I know you can't write it down. So feel free to
Right.
just respond back to that email and I'll make sure that you get the recording.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
All right.
Oh, thank you,
All
Roz,
right.
and thank you,
Take it away.
Julia.
I have a
Yes.
question.
Okay.
Oh,
I have a question. What are your recommendations for cooking acorn squash?
so I have not cooked acorn squash. I have not.
Mhm.
I'm so yeah, I can't answer that one. I've done other squashes, but I have not done acorn.
Mhm. Okay. I have another question.
Thank you.
Hi. I have another question.
Uh-huh.
So I'm a diabetic, and I know your soup recipe had, apples in it, and then you had, a number of spices. And I know you, promoted the soup. This event as healthy. So is that, is that still healthy with the, sweeter spices? I mean, they're not overly sweet, I'm
Right.
sure, but and the apple. I just want to, have you confirm or deny that,
Yeah,
because
so
as they
they
say, yeah.
so
Hmm.
first what I want to say is that everybody is different. Body makeup is different. So if there are diabetics that are here,
Hmm.
then
Hmm.
you have to go with what your numbers say. But
Okay.
with that being said, the recipe that I've just prepared, it unlike other butternut squash recipes, they have maple syrup in it, or they have maybe some added sweetener. And
Okay.
I did not put an added sweetener in this
Hmm.
particular recipe. I flavored it with the herbs, which with the spices. So with the
Hmm.
cinnamon, with the mace, and with the nutmeg to give it flavor. And also the apple. It's a Honeycrisp apple, which is which is a nice sweet apple. But you don't have to actually have the apple. You could
Hmm.
omit the apple, or you can use a Granny Smith apple, which is not as sweet
Hmm.
as the Honeycrisp apple. But again, it all depends on your numbers, your A1C. And
Okay.
so if your A1C is rather high, then you can alter this recipe accordingly.
Okay.
So it just depends. But it
Yeah.
is healthier than other recipes that I have seen um, on the what is it when I googled the recipes.
Right. And one more other question that I have, because I joined a little after you got started. In terms of equipment, because you're using something called the Vitamix.
Yes, I am.
So I don't have that type of machine. What could I substitute?
So if you have a whatever type of processor you have a regular blender, you
Yeah,
can use
okay.
that. You can use your regular blender. All the blenders have a couple of settings on them.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Right.
yeah, that will work. I've even seen people use a bullet to make soup. So
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Great. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Sure. Thank you. All right, Yolanda, ladies, gentlemen.
All right. Thank you, Roz. I did see one more hand. We
Ah,
do have
okay.
3 minutes. Let's see if I can tell whose hand. Bridget,
Good.
did you have a question? Okay. All right. Don't want to cut anyone off. We have a few more minutes. So, okay. Catherine asked, where do you find the plant-based cream? Heavy whipping cream, I guess.
I saw it at Wegmans. I see it at Mom's Market and Whole Foods.
Great. Thank you. All right.
Yes.
Well, as always, thank you, Roz. And we appreciate your time. We appreciate you all asking questions, being engaged. That makes it even more fun since we can't taste or smell the food. And thank you, Julia, for watching our chat box and making sure that everyone's thoughts and questions were heard. So We will close out for the evening with just an announcement to remind you, please, please, please complete the evaluation survey. This helps us improve our programming. And on top of that, it is getting close to the holiday season. You can get be entered into a drawing to win a $25, I'm gonna go ahead and say it, Amazon gift card. So you get some variety. So please be sure to fill out that evaluation for us. And then our next session, which someone's already wrote in the chat, is December the 2nd, and that is going to be a healthy holiday dip and dessert. So giving you some ways to make some healthy dips and desserts over the holidays. It looks like that class is showing that it's full. That should not be the case. So I will troubleshoot that on tomorrow. And so hopefully if you go try to register tomorrow or early next week, you should be able to get in. But if for some reason you have issues, feel free to email us at wellness@pgparks.com. Or if you would like the recording to the video, wellness@pgparks.com. Or feel free to email back to the email address where you received the link to join us on tonight. And so I think that wraps it up for us. And I wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving. And we will end just after this brief closing video. Thank you all.
Thank you for joining us.